A pleasant day to each and every one of us. I am Rancy Ibalitar from Group 3, and I am reporting or presenting to you the assigned topic to me over this recorded video presentation. Allow me also to read directly from my slides the content of my topic so we can all save time and also give more time to my group mates' reports as well. But don't worry, I have emphasized for us to the keywords of my reports, of the content of my reports, so we can all grasp the content of my topic this morning. So let's start. So ICPS, or interpersonal cognitive problem solving. Um, this is a technique used mainly for improving students' interpersonal skills. The assumption that underlies this theory and based on research on interpersonal cognitive problem solving is that the ability to solve interpersonal problem is so important to the social adjustment and a key element to social competence. So, knowing or being aware of one's interpersonal problem um, will lead an individual to have a better social adjustment and will have a um, a disadvantage when it comes to social competence once the problem is identified or there is a self-awareness of um, interpersonal cognitive problem. The emphasis of ICPS is to help children think about and solve interpersonal problems. In particular, ICPS provides students, particularly with those behavioral and adjustment problems, with instruction on identifying interpersonal problem, generating alternative solutions to these problems, and evaluating the consequences of to their actions. The aim is to teach students cognitive and metacognitive processes for decision making that would allow them to become confident and more effective in dealing with interpersonal conflicts such as coping with peer pressure, teasing, and frustration. So, just like what I've said a while ago, it is really important. I mean, it's beneficial for an individual to know his um, interpersonal cognitive problem to be able to process and deal with interpersonal conflicts, right? So to continue, so the ICPS skills programs are conducted with preschool and primary school children in the natural setting of their school. Major ICPS skills identified for training include recognizing feelings and ourselves or oneself, being aware of the sensitive to interpersonal problems, generation of alternative solutions to such problems, understanding means and relationships, that is being able to think through the process required to arrive at solution, awareness of consequences of one's actions, and understanding the reciprocal effect between one's own behavior and feelings and the behavior and feelings of others. When using this program in the classroom, children are taught an explicit six-step process for solving interpersonal problem. First, problem definition. Say the problem and how you feel about it. So it's important to define what kind of problem is that. Goal statement. Decide on your goal, whether you would succumb to your to what what kind whatever behavioral problem that you have, or you would like to let it pass or get away from that um, situation or behavioral problem. Impulse delay. Okay, so stop and think before you act. Sounds like think before you click, right? So it's good that we pause, and we should not be impulsive on deciding on what to do or act on the behavioral problem that is currently happening. Fourth, generation of alternatives. So we have to think of as many solutions as possible. So these are the things that we have to uh, teach or train to our students, that they must think of different or many solutions to a specific problem. Consideration of consequences. Think ahead to what might happen next. So I guess this is one of the most important um, item in the six-step process, is to think of the consequence or the result of the decision or the action that you want to carry out later. Okay. And then the sixth is the implementation. When you have a really good solution, you can try it. Okay. But before that, of course, uh, you have to consider the pros and cons of it. Okay. Children are also encouraged to try other solutions if their first one fails. So that is okay. So we have to tell our children that if the first solution that they have thought is failed, so they can try another solution. That's why having more options or alternative solutions is a good move or a good idea. They are also told that sometimes it is necessary to change one's initial goal. Okay. During training sessions, children practice applying the entire problem solving process to real life problems through role play and discussion. Okay. Um, this is followed up in everyday classroom context by conducting group problem solving meetings to address interpersonal problems arising at school, modeling the problem solving process by demonstrating how they apply it to solve their daily social problems, and using this process when children request help in solving conflict with peers. So, modeling and doing it through role playing uh, would help them practice what they have learned when it comes to the processes of dealing with their interpersonal problem. So most ICPS training programs include the following 9 instructional elements. So these are the instructions that we impart, or that the teacher has to teach, or uh, to teach to the children. First is identify feelings exhibited through facial expression, nonverbal gestures, and others. Identification of interpersonal problems, articulation of feelings associated with interpersonal conflicts. So it's good if the students, if a student will be able to um, say or express his or her feelings. Determination of appropriate goals for problem solution. Okay. Um, Six, generation of alternative solutions. So we have to tell our students to think of options, different options, many alternative solutions for a problem. Consideration of consequences, okay, just like the previous slide that we have talked about. Seven, modeling, sometimes by means of videotape or recorded um, scenarios. Okay. And then eight, role plays. And nine is alternative generations. If the first or initial um, solutions did not really work well. Okay, so here is an example of an interpersonal problem solving strategy called FAST. So let's see how fast we can come up with the solution. Okay, first step is freeze and think. So we have to pause for a while and then think of what really the problem is. Okay, second, alternatives. Ask yourself what are the possible solutions. So list as many as you can. Okay, so that is good so that you can have um, different choices later. If you think uh, the first solution that you have thought is would not really work well. Third is solution evaluation. So I guess this is the one that from the previous slides that say we have to think of the after effect or the consequence of our action. Choose the best solution. Ask, is it safe? Is it fair? Will it work in the long run? Okay. So the consequence of the action that we want to carry out later. And then the fourth step, which is try it slowly and carefully, and ask yourself, does it work? Okay. So let us teach our children, our students, if that work, if a particular solution works, then they have to evaluate it and think for it carefully, decide for it carefully. So what is the method that would help us uh, come up with the effectivity of the ICPS? So according here, modeling is an effective method in ICPS. It is often used in combination with other methods for maximal effect. This method has proven to be very effective teaching approaches for children with wide range of disabilities and learning problems, including those with mild handicaps to those severe intellectual disability and severe emotional disturbance for a variety of instructional tasks. It is also found to be highly successful in training in the use of telephone, mealtime behavior, and social interaction skills for persons with moderate to intellectual disabilities. According to research, it shows that it is made salient to the learners to gain their attention and complex behaviors. In a meta-analysis of children's social skills training, modeling is found to be the second most effective training technique, ranking just below the operant procedures, but above both coaching and social cognitive method. Modeling was not most effective for training social interaction skills. It is most effective in training interaction skills with a mean effect size of positive 0.97 according to the research. However, modeling appears to be less effective with problems of aggression, with an effect size of only zero point 0.7 and much less effective with social cognition measure with effect size of 0.49 only. Okay, let's now go to the generalization. We are almost over. Overall, research on social skills training has supported the effectiveness of these methods. Procedures directed toward increasing generalization of the skills to appropriate situation outside the original training setting are in most need in such training package. So this include employ by modeling and contingency reinforcement method. Okay? Second is fade out reinforcement contingency as soon as the behavior is well established so that we can give opportunity to the child or to the learner to practice what she or he has learned uh, from the training or from the lesson. Okay? Use a wide variety of modeling techniques such as coaching, rehearsal, and role playing to enhance the learning. Okay? include self-monitoring, self-coping, and self-reinforcing procedures. So, like what I've said a while in the beginning of my presentation, self-awareness is really important. Being able to identify or determine the interpersonal problem will help the individual to monitor and to cope with the interpersonal problem that he or she is experiencing. Conduct regular follow-up assessments, okay, to know the status of the student's progress when it comes to interpersonal problem solving. Six is teach behavior that will supported by natural environment. That is, those that will also meet the approval of parents, peers, other teachers, and adults. So that is important to really practice the learned um, intervention of behavior when it comes to dealing with parents, peers, and other people that surrounds the child. Teach a variety of responses. Of course, that is important. Once students have demonstrated proficiency in the skill using training materials, allow opportunities for them to adapt the newly acquired skill and initiate their own situation and responses. So this is to for the child to really practice and and master the newly acquired skill when it comes to controlling his or her behavior. Okay? Second to the last, train across multiple persons and settings common to the natural environment. So, after the classmates, probably from going to some adults, that is sharing to with the common natural setting and environment. And then the last is reinforce application of the learned skill in a new context as reported by the learner. So it is necessary to practice or to reinforce to give opportunity for the child to practice the new learned skill in other situation, okay, in other situation or scenario, so the child can really practice and master the learned skill. Okay, so with that, I thank you for your time listening to my presentation. Um, I hope that you have learned something from what I have reported. Thank you and God bless us all.